Here with the Wheeler family for today's announcement. I know they traveled from other spots in the state, and I'm just so grateful that they came for this great day today. So thank you very much for coming. We also have with us, I'll introduce some of the people from the Wheeler family who are here. If I've forgotten anyone, please let me know. I want to make sure that we acknowledge everyone. Cameron Wheeler, his son. Derek Wheeler, his son. Adrian Wheeler, daughter-in-law. Is that correct? Daughter-in-law. We have Jace and Joshua, great-grandsons. Fidelia, who is a granddaughter, and William D. Wheeler, grandson. All right. Thank you so much for coming again. We really, really appreciate that you made the journey to join with us today to celebrate your father/grandfather/father-in-law. We also have with us the presiding officer of the legislature, Rich Nicolello of the county legislature. We have legislator Sheila Bino. We have New York State Senator Kevin Thomas, New York State Assemblywoman Taylor Darling. We have senior councilwoman of the of the town of Hempstead, Dorothy Gusby. We have Village of Hempstead Mayor Don Ryan and Deputy Mayor Charles Renfro. Have I forgotten anyone? Have I neglected anybody? Good. Thank you so much for coming as well. So here on Long Island, you know, we talk about it all the time. We have a proud history of aviation. And today we honor a man who is a central piece of that history. Today is absolutely a fitting day to celebrate this man's legacy because today is National Aviation Day. It also happens to be that tomorrow would be Lieutenant Wheeler's 97th birthday. So it makes today much more special. Born in 1923. So I want to tell you a little bit about Second Lieutenant U.S. Army Corps William M. Wheeler. He was a highly trained World War II combat pilot, a decorated veteran, and a longtime Hempstead resident who, as one of the famed Tuskegee Airmen, helped break the military's prohibition against black pilots. Lieutenant Wheeler was among the last of the 994 pilot cadets who graduated from an experimental Army Air Corps program that began at Tuskegee, Alabama during World War II. The Tuskegee Airmen became the first black pilots to fly for the U.S. military. This is particularly interesting because before the program began in 1941, the military refused to allow blacks to even apply for aviation training. They faced down discrimination and racism while they were defending our freedoms around the world. So we owe an incredible debt of gratitude to men like Lieutenant Wheeler, who really started it all. They allowed our country to live up to its ideals. Lieutenant Wheeler continued to live up to his legacy long after his Army career ended. He traveled with the Tuskegee Airmen Speakers Bureau, speaking to youth groups, to other groups all across the country, and making presentations to groups, sharing his story, sharing the Tuskegee Airmen's story of breaking racial barriers and encouraging others to keep up the fight for equality. I am proud to be able to designate this portion of Charles Lindbergh Blvd. Lieutenant William M. Wheeler Way. Now, Mr. Wheeler passed away 9 years ago, and I think it is fitting that we make this change today. So as of today, and we have Brian Schneider from Department of Public Works to make sure this happens, as of today, this area of road stretching from the intersection of Jeffrey Avenue to the intersection of Earle Ovington Blvd. Will serve as a tribute to this courageous and revolutionary man. It's also fitting that the portion of this road, right in front of the Cradle of Aviation Museum, is going to have the name change. If you haven't been to the Cradle, I know we have Andy Parton, who runs the museum. It gives the whole history of aviation on Long Island, from the very beginning to landing on the moon and everything in between. So we are honoring Lieutenant Wheeler for making history. We are thanking his family to join us with this. And I would like to invite some elected officials to speak, and then if someone from the Wheeler family would like to speak, that would be wonderful. So I'm going to first ask Presiding Officer Nicolello to step up and say a few words, and then we'll have Legislator Bino follow. So you could, any of these two microphones.
Thank you very much to our county executive and for spearheading this and for initiating this important day to recognize Lieutenant Wheeler and his family. It was passed in the legislature, and it was shepherded through the legislature by Legislator Bino, and I want to thank her for all of her efforts. Lieutenant Wheeler was flying a fighter plane flew fighter planes in World War II. And we tend to think of the fighter planes of today and all the technology, the equipment. They were basically tin cans with wings on them. And flying those over enemy territory, trying to be shot down with a very vicious enemy, the amount of courage that it took to do something like that. And I read in his biography that after he had a life-threatening experience and they were going to reassign him, he wanted to go back into the planes to fly again. So it's truly a remarkable man, truly remarkable courage, dedication, and he's truly should be recognized in this way by our county. We are all very, very proud of him. And as the county executive said, at the time, the Tuskegee Airmen had to fight to serve. They had to fight in order to put their lives on the line for this country. His love of country, their love of country, their dedication, their service in a country that at the time had systems and both private and public of racism in place is an astonishing thing. And I'm so happy to be with you today. I want to congratulate the family and tell them that we in Nassau County and in this country are very proud of their father and grandfather for what he did. And again, congratulations.
Good afternoon. It does me great joy to be here in celebration of the honoring of Second Lieutenant William Wheeler. His legacy will live on each and every time a car passes this area. He served this country proudly. He was a patriot who, as Legislator Nicolello just said, fought to even be part of the war. I think that courageousness is worth this celebration and more. I won't go over the facts that were already shared today, but I want to share a little bit about how William Wheeler impacted my family. William Wheeler encouraged a little black girl from Westbury to consider aviation as a career. My sister is one of the first African-American females to ever fly a 787 Dreamliner for United Airlines. And it was the Tuskegee Airmen. In fact, they encouraged her so much that she went to Alabama to take up the study of aviation. So I can't say thank you enough to the Wheeler family for all of his contributions that he has given to this family, to this community, and to this world so freely. He has fought the fight, not only on the front lines in the war, but he fought the fight to break down racism, institutional racism. And for that, my heart will always have a special part for him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Legislator. It is my pleasure now to introduce Senior Councilwoman Dorothy Gusby from the town of Hempstead.
Good afternoon. I'm really excited about this. Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler were my neighbors just about. They lived in Hempstead for many, many years. Mrs. Wheeler was one of the people who helped teach my children at the school in Hempstead. And Mr. Wheeler was always around. He was always there for the children. He would talk to them about the war and so forth. And in 1999, we honored the Tuskegee Airmen for the first time. And where are you? This young lady here was the one who was always there with the Tuskegee Airmen, and she was the one who let me know, told me about them, and we had the first honorary for them in the village of Hempstead at Reverend Dean's church. But they were great. He loved sweet potato pie. And at that time, I was pretty good with baking them. So I would have to bake sweet potato pie for him and his wife. They were always together. They were a loving couple. And anybody who saw them knew that they truly loved each other and they loved their family. And the son here is one who always wanted me to bake him a sweet potato pie whenever he came to Hempstead. So it's a great family. They've done a lot for all of us, and we should always be grateful. And it's sad that they had to go through so much to do what they had to do, but they did it, and that's what's important, and that's what we have to teach our children. So thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Hempstead Village, Don Ryan would like to say a few words for his former constituent.
Greetings to everyone. Much love to the Wheeler family. Bill Wheeler lived on Allen Street in Hempstead, and I got an opportunity to meet with him and had many discussions. I know that in March of 1943, as a sophomore at Howard University, he volunteered for the Army Air Corps. Sometime in August of the following year, he got his wings. Shortly thereafter, he was credited with 3 kills. But he did have a life-harrowing experience. Flying at some 38,000 feet, he passed out. The plane dove all the way down to 8,000 feet before he recovered his opportunity to control the plane. He was able to do so and miraculously went back to the base safely. But they would not let him fly again in the Army, in the Tuskegee Airmen, because of the heights that they flew at. So he volunteered to fly with another unit which flew at lower levels, in which he would have been safely able to do so, but they refused to accept him because of the color of his skin. He carried that mark for the rest of his life and often talked about it later after a successful business career when he became a volunteer in the Tuskegee Airmen Speaking Bureau. He was a person in our community of which we are so proud. He received many honors and awards during his Air Force experience or Army Air Corps experience. He earned the World War II Victory Medal. He also has a Village of Hempstead Victory Medal as well, Medal of Honor, and he's in our Hall of Fame, as is the senior councilwoman Dorothy Gusby. And said to me, Don, when you put the picture up, I don't want a picture of the way I am now. I want the picture of when I was in the Tuskegee Airmen. And that picture is in our Kennedy Park, and you're all invited at 335 Gurney Street to visit and see him and others. It's a proud moment. I need to pause, though, because Minnie Wheeler was great as well. She was big in the Hempstead School District. She was valuable to us, and the two of them were a beautiful couple. And I had the honor of getting to know them and love them and appreciate them. And I appreciate what the county is doing today. This dedication is very meaningful and very appropriate. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And I would now like to invite whoever would like to speak from Mr. Wheeler's family. You can also bring the microphone over. Please bring me the mic.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Derek Wheeler, the middle son of Bill and Minnie Wheeler's 3 sons. My older brother is sitting here to my right, and my younger brother lives in California, so he's not able to be here. On behalf of the family, first of all, I would like to thank you all very much for thinking about our dad and bestowing this honor upon him. Dad was extremely committed to this neighborhood, this city, and the history of the Tuskegee Airmen. For the last couple of decades of his life, he spent an extraordinary amount of time motivating those who may have an interest in aeronautics, flying, etc., and was able to touch personally many hundreds of people in the New York area, and also on several occasions he was flown over to Germany, to England, other countries to share wartime experiences. And that was something he really looked forward to as he reached his retirement age. If Dad was alive today, what would be of great importance to him would not only be the Tuskegee Airmen and motivating and training people, making sure connections were made. The other thing that Dad would be extremely interested in are these developments that have really taken root the last couple of years. Groups like Black Lives Matter, as an example. One looks at the scope of Black history, one sees that there are pushes and pulls and periods of time that are much more active than others. This we can see when we look, for example, at the congressional representative who we all lost a couple of weeks ago. The one who felt it's always more important to not walk by, to pay attention to situations and to seize opportunities to advance the rights of American citizens who may happen to have been Black, but nonetheless are entitled to the right to vote and other important requirements to be successful in a country like the United States. So what I'm saying is that as you watch developments go on, and I think those developments are going to reach a crescendo soon coming on election day, know that there is a straight line between the Black Lives Matter folks and other important groups such as Tuskegee Airmen. They're all part of the same struggle. We're all trying to live in these United States of America with equal rights and equal opportunities. And that is what kept both my parents going through the years, their opportunities to exercise our rights as citizens of this country. So we're very pleased again to be here. Mom and Dad lived out here in Hempstead for about 50 years, and it was a good place for us, a good place for them. We all graduated from Uniondale High School, and it's great to see you again. So that's what I'd like to say on behalf of the family. Again, thank you so much.
Derek, thank you very much for your words. Really appreciate you speaking, really appreciate that you came. So now, we get to unveil the sign. All right, you ready?